Hey guys, this is Steli FT with Close.io. Today I want to talk about founder dinners or co-founder dinners, the secret to lasting co-founder relationships. So one of the biggest causes for startup deaths are co-founders not getting along with each other and actually arguing and splitting and drifting apart. Now, I have two co-founders, Anthony and Thomas, that started this business with me. At the beginning, it was a company called SwipeGood. We pivoted into Elastic Sales, which then pivoted into Close.io. And for the last, 3.5 years, we've had a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows. Circumstances have changed. We ran out of money. We raised money. We were almost bankrupt. We turned a profit. We grew the company. We shrink the company back into a smaller size. We had all kinds of challenges as a business. With all kinds of challenges individually, getting into relationships, coming out of relationships. For myself, was actually building a family and launching two baby boys. Like all kinds of change happened. And still, our relationship, the relationship between the three co-founders of Close.io, couldn't be more intimate, couldn't be more functioning, couldn't be happier, couldn't be more successful. And here's why. There's a couple of secrets to building and maintaining relationships that are universal. It doesn't matter if it's an intimate relationship with your significant other or relationship within family or relationship with your co-founders. Human relationships need maintenance. Human relationship needs work. You can't just find somebody that you like, that you click with, that you want to spend time with or get into a relationship with, and then assume that with no work and no effort, it forever, magically, that relationship will stay amazing and functioning while all the time your life and the world around you is changing dramatically. No, you have to actually keep working on it. And here's a simple hack or simple philosophy that you can implement if you have co-founders to actually keep working on your relationship and make sure that the number one cause of death for startups will not be the cause of the death of your startup. So here's one thing that we implemented from day one in our startup. Once a week, we would have a founders dinner, which would mean only the three of us, only the three co-founders of the business would go out for dinner. Now, in the early days, it's kind of weird because we're together all day long anyways. We're in like this tiny little room. It's just the three of us. We work day and night. We go for breakfast together, for lunch together, and for dinner together. So having a founder dinner seemed kind of ridiculous. But we also knew that forming habits early would be important. So as we grew and scaled the business, these habits would stay with us forever. So we did that in a really disciplined manner. And here's the format of the founders dinner. It was always at the same night, in our case, Thursday nights. And we would sit down, we would order some food, and we would basically do two things. Number one is we would have some free-form discussion. Just talk about all kinds of shit, anything that's on our mind, talking generally about the business, our private lives, just chatting, just being friends, just like sitting there and actually having a conversation and exchanging what's going on in our lives. But then there would be two more parts to that discussion. Part number one was actually talking about the things we're concerned about. Concerned about certain people in the business, concerned about a certain direction, concerned about a certain challenge. And just honestly and frankly and transparently talk about what we're concerned about, and not just facts and figures, but also the emotional side of things. How did it make us feel? Did it create stress in our life? Did it create any kind of anxiety? Just actually honestly, openly, transparently sharing how we felt about that. Not just what we were concerned about, but how it made us feel and how it impacted our lives at any given time. So we talk about the challenges and the concerns and the fears that we had with each other openly. And then, last but not least, we would actually go around, do one time of a round, the three of us, and ask the question, hey, did anything happen in the last week that I did that pissed you or you off? Did I create any kind of stress or negativity in your life? Did I do anything that pissed you off or confused you or made you angry? Doesn't matter how small it is, let's bring it up right now. See, I believe that there is no such thing as a small issue. I don't believe anything is too small to be brought up and talked about. I believe that the reason why, 10 years into a relationship, there's a big argument and the relationship splits apart and can't be repaired anymore is never, ever because of one big argument or one big issue. it usually is 10 years of tiny little issues building up into something that's insurmountable, something that cannot be fixed anymore. And it's these little things that you keep holding on to. You think, oh, that's a small thing. Yeah, it pissed me off, but I almost forgot about it. How is it then that 4 years later in a big argument, you bring up the shit I did 4 years ago? Have you never done that? I've done that in arguments with people. It's because we don't forget. It's because these things never had a chance to really resolve. We found a way to be okay with it. We put it aside, but it never really got resolved. So if you actually want to maintain a relationship, keep it healthy, you have to bring up the tiniest issues and empower people to actually resolve them. And I have actually written before about how to do kind of conflict resolution within startups. We'll link up to that. I think that post is really important. It gives you a framework on how to actually express issues with other people in a really productive way. Anyways, so Founders Dinner, once a week, only the three of us, talking about life, talking about our concerns and challenges openly, and then talking about each other's relationship. Did I affect you negatively? How do you feel about my own performance? How do you feel about the job I'm making? Are you happy with me? Are you inspired by me? Are you disappointed? Let's talk honestly and openly about each other. We've maintained that for now over 3 years. And it's been the single most important thing to the success of our business, because we had some times where shit hit the fan and we had real challenges. In that time of turmoil, there's moments where I was pissed or angry at my co-founders, or they were really pissed or disappointed about me. If we didn't create an environment and a space and a process to safely bring these things up and resolve them, these things would have grown and eventually they would have destroyed us. I firmly believe that. The other thing that's great about the co-founder dinner is, as I said, in the early days, it kind of feels unnecessary, but we still did it, and I think you should to form the habit. But as the team grows, as the company becomes more, department focused, I started working all my day in one certain office with all the salespeople, and my co-founders worked all day long in the engineering office with the engineering and product team. And on the day-to-day, we stopped actually interacting as much as we used to. So having that one day in the week that was kind of our time, just like when you get married and you have kids, you need to have like dates. You actually have to schedule dates with your founders to be able to create a space that recreates that original intimacy, that original camaraderie, and that original relationship of like, it's the three of us that birthed this idea and that parents this idea into hopefully all it could be. So it's important to maintain that space because you lose it as the company grows naturally and organically. And the other thing is that because we've kept that rhythm, and we've kept having these conversations where we're really honest and open about any little tiny thing with each other, over time, it creates an incredible amount of trust. We trust each other at a really deep level because we know each other at a really deep level and we care for each other. And the other thing it does, it creates real knowledge about the other person. You start to really get to know these people really, really, really well. And once you get to know them really well, eventually you have to make a decision if you want to forgive them for the things that they're not that great at, or for the things where they are totally different than you are. Nobody's perfect. One of the greatest things about my two co-founders is that they are very different people from me. They look different, they act different, they walk different. Their backgrounds are very different than mine. They're very different individuals. If you put us in a room and you talk to all three of us, you would know what I'm talking about. But all three of us have very common values, very common goals, common humor, and we really value each other, and we really trust each other, and we really forgive each other for the things that we do that pisses the others off. And we also are okay that we're not completely having a variety and diversity in your co-founder setup is good, but it also could be a potential source for friction if you don't learn to actually accept the others the way they are, with their great and the bad, with their good sides and the bad sides. I've learned to forgive them, and they've learned to forgive me for the things where I'm not perfect. And all in all, net, we know we're an amazing team, and we're much better off together than apart. So that's what ultimately makes this relationship really work, and that ultimately is what makes this business work at the end of the day. Because if we would get into fights and arguments and would pull in different directions, there would be no chance for this team to thrive and the company to succeed. So I hope this is useful to other co-founders and other startups out there. If you're not a single founder, start dating your co-founder. Start having founders dinner once a week. Put it in the schedule. Be religious about it. like be dogmatic about it. That's a no can reschedule date. And meet up once a week, sit down, talk openly about the business, your feelings, and each other to make sure that you maintain and you develop the relationship and deepen it. It's going to benefit not just your quality of life and the relationship with these people that are really important in your life, but it's actually going to increase dramatically the chances of the success of your startup.